Are you ready to go?
Right.
All right. I know you're going to ask my first name.
Spell first and last and say your title.
So it's Jonathan Wilson, it's spelled Jonathan. Last name is Wilson. I'm the Chief Safety, Security, and Emergency Management Officer for the Wind Center for Forsyth County Schools.
All right, well, so you guys have started the metal detector checks at some of the high schools, and you're, upping the game at high schools. And how's that been going so far? Because they've only been back in school, a day or two?
This will be the second day back, yes, ma'am. So just like we told you last week, we've been doing metal detecting randomly for different reasons, especially at our sporting events, and then different times in schools. And so we're just now ramping that up to do them throughout this next quarter in our high schools, more frequently on a random basis. And so this was our second day doing it in North Forsyth, Drew today.
Did y'all find anything?
So this morning, while conducting our metal detecting process, the process went very well. Staff did a really good job. Metal detecting is hard. And so the staff did really well, students did really well with the process. But after the metal detecting process was over, as we always do, we do a perimeter sweep and make sure that nothing was left outside. And in the course of looking around outside the building, a gun was located in a trash can.
Have you guys identified the student that gun belonged to?
So law enforcement is continuing their investigation, but we do believe that the student has been identified, and the investigation, like I said, is continuing to be ongoing.
The fact that
How we identify. Throughout the course, let me start again. So after the metal detecting was over, we did a sweep. We found a gun in the trash can. Like we told you last week, our approach to school safety is multi-layered. So from the gates that we have at the outside of our property to our front doors being locked, our door access controls and our cameras. Like I've told you in the past, we've increased our number of cameras across our district as part of the 2016 bond, and we continue that process as part of the safety grant that we received from the state. And our cameras were able to pick up who dropped the gun in the trash can.
this is a pure example of, metal detectors deterring a student from bringing that gun in the building, possibly, right? I mean,
yes,
so obviously it's working. Unfortunately, it was still on campus, but what do you just think about the fact that that student threw it away instead of bringing it inside the school?
Well, I think that, like you said, the fact that it's a deterrent, it worked. We don't want that gun coming into our building. We don't want the gun on campus, period. But we also don't want guns in the hands of our students and juveniles across this county. And so this is just another example of the access that juveniles have access to firearms across this county. And so it is a situation that we work with all law enforcement partners each and every day to make sure that we do our part on our campuses.
What kind of punishment will that student face?
So I'd say, number one, the fact that a juvenile was in possession of a firearm, and number two, that the juvenile was in possession of a firearm on a school property, there will be legal ramifications for that. So that's up to the sheriff's office and the court system as to what happens. But our code of character and conduct will address the disciplinary issues as far as what that student would face. A weapon on our campus results in a 365-day suspension.
I suppose it's too early, but any idea what they were doing with that gun?
Well, I'd like to know myself. So we don't know why a student would bring a firearm. Number one, we don't know why he had it to begin with, why it came to this school. I will say that it was never used in any threatening manner. It was never displayed in any way. And the only way we came to find it is the fact that it was on our property and we were doing our job.
From what it looked like, do you think that student had seen that there were metal detectors in there and then they just didn't know what to do and panicked and threw it in the trash? Is that what you think?
Well, I think the investigation would show what exactly happened, but I would say that we have messaged out to our families of all of our schools and our high schools and middle schools that we would be ramping up our efforts for random metal detection. So obviously when the kids arrived on campus, they're never going to know until they get here, and clearly they knew what was happening, and so I'm assuming that that's maybe what happened.
What kind of gun was it?
It was a handgun. As far as what kind of handgun it was, I think the sheriff's office would have to advise of that.
If there was no ill intent, then the only other reason to bring a weapon anywhere is for protection. Do you feel like there's any reason why a student would need to bring a weapon onto campus to protect themselves?
Well, I mean, I think that would be an assumption that it was for protection. I mean, I think, kids do things for different reasons. Sometimes it's just to show off. I have access to a firearm and I got it in some way. So was it that? Was it for protection? I really don't know. I wish we did know that.
Really, the first layer of protection is parents. So is there a message to send to parents as far as making sure, your kids are not bringing a weapon with them onto school property?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, this school district has always said that we want to partner with our parents. Our parents need to know what their students have in their bags. Our parents need to know what their kids have in their rooms. Our parents need to know what their kids are up to. And so as long as parents are working with us and they're doing their part, I'm a parent. And it was my responsibility to know what my kids were doing each and every day. And I took the opportunity to look through my kids' room to make sure. I didn't like it, but my parents did the same thing to me. Would look through my room and make sure that I didn't have things that I shouldn't have. And so, again, we would just ask parents to help us out with that.
Did the school get put on lockdown at all during the day?
So we did not do a lockdown. Again, the school was never in any danger as far as the weapon being displayed or used in any threatening manner. What we did do is, if you remember this school year, we implemented the standard response protocol, and it gives us 5 actions: hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, or shelter in place. And so in this situation, we did call a hold. That means the students were not allowed to leave their classrooms. All the hallways stayed clear. It gave us an opportunity to go and retrieve the students.
Let's switch out with Tricia.
I don't know. He's really good. I'm not sure I need to even come up here, but we'll see. Excellent, Jonathan.
Thank you.
That was clear. He gave all the good details. So if I can answer anything else outside of that.
Well, I mean, just for folks to start with your thoughts on why today's significant.
Okay. I'm just listening to Jonathan going, wow, I'm really impressed. I hear him all the time, though, but I'm still very impressed. I don't need to do the name thing and all that, right? Or
No,
do
we know who you
Okay,
are.
all right. So honestly, we have been again, as Jonathan said, working on ramping up or increasing the use of the random metal detection. And so the fact that today a student did not come in with that, knowing that it was a deterrent, and that is exactly why we're doing the randomization. But the other deterrent we have, or the other, I guess, intervention we have that really works most of the time, has been when students find out about it and report it. So that's also working for us. And so today the process worked as it was supposed to. Again, we're going to be doing this periodically, more frequently than in the past. It will be unannounced, and so students will not know. And so it is very important that they realize schools are not the place to bring weapons. To the point of why students are bringing weapons, I think we need that. That is another part of the root cause of this that we have got to address. Many times they do say for safety, and so the fact of incidents and violence happening in the community that then feeds into schools, and where students feel I've got to bring a weapon onto campus to protect myself, we really do need to get to the root cause of that. And that's why it's so important that not only are we focused on the consequence part of our code of character, conduct, and support, but that we're focused on the restorative part, where kids actually have trusted adults in our buildings, where they can talk about issues that they're facing, where they have mentors and others that are helping them, and they get mental health counseling, because that is a critical part of this as well. So all in all, the process today worked for us, and we're going to continue to refine it and continue to ramp up the process and keep our kids safe, which is our number one priority.
I would say, as the leader of Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, how concerning is it that we are seeing so many weapons brought to school, not only here, but just across the country?
Yeah, no, it is extremely concerning. I believe this is with the incident last week at Forsyth Tech with our students. I believe this is the 6th weapon as far as firearm that we have found this school year. Other weapons, I mean, there's more. Some have been smaller pocket knives, things that kids have forgotten that we do have to count as weapons, and that's what we do. We count them all. But as far as the firearms on campus, or any weapon that could be destructive and cause harm to others, it is extremely concerning. And I'm going to reiterate what Jonathan said, as parents need to honestly double check, talk to their kids, double check what are they taking to school. A child, where are they even accessing weapons? This is a bigger community concern that we have got to all work together, because this is not just a school system solution. The access to weapons in our community is rampant, and how is that happening? And so I think we need to address that. Parents need to step up and help us with their children in what are they bringing to school? Like, how does your child have access to a weapon? How did you not know they were bringing it to campus? All of that is really important. And then we've got to figure out why they're bringing it to campus. And our campuses should be a safe place for them when they enter our doors. And so all of that is critical as we uncover what is happening. And you're right, it is here, but it is across the country. It is kind of a pandemic in itself. I guess it's just a major concern across the country is mental health, violence, and I think we have the tools, we have the people, we have the resources, we have great students. We've got the ingredients to solve this concern within our community, and I know there are a lot of people that are at the table as part of that solution, and we've got to stick to it and stay the course and be proactive, and then also be, when necessary, have the right reaction to when things like this happen.
I was going to also ask you mentioned, how important it is for other students to report when they see something. Did anyone report this gun, or was this just purely from the perimeter sweep?
Yeah, it was from the perimeter sweep, from what I understand. I don't think anyone else had seen it, because I do believe it would have, probably someone would have come to school and said something, because again, I'm going to say 9 out of 10 times that is exactly how a gun is uncovered, a weapon is uncovered, is that someone else, another child, somebody else says they saw it, they heard about it. It might be an anonymous phone call, a tip. And so this was, I believe, strictly on the perimeter check and seeing, yeah. So.
One question. So how frustrating that you guys sent this message out before spring break, and the first day back they find this weapon on campus? How frustrating is that for y'all?
So that's a good question. I think concerning is probably the word for me versus frustrating. I mean, we're dealing with students that are high school age students, and they make really bad decisions at times. And so frustrating, I'm not frustrated, I'm concerned that children feel the need to bring weapons to campus, knowing the destruction that these weapons can cause. And so, yeah, I think it's more of a concern that we have to actually get to the root cause of and work together to solve.
Thank you for that.
And just one more concern is, I know this is randomized metal detection, but is there any concern that you guys might need to bring in permanent metal detectors to your schools?
So that is, I will tell you, that is permanent metal detection is a conversation that will be discussed next Tuesday with our Board of Education. We are having a safety and security workshop next Tuesday, and our law enforcement partners from Sheriff, from the city, from Kernersville Police will all be at the table talking with the Board of Education about, what is it that, what steps do they also want to see us take moving forward. In order to do that, there are other things involved, which would be finances, which would be time, which would be other things, which is why it really needs to be a decision that our Board of Education is involved in making along with our law enforcement partners, because it is an all-in effort. If you go and watch the process at a school, it takes a lot of time and energy, but again, we are up for that if that is going to keep our kids safe. It is just a bigger discussion that will be had next week with our Board of Education.
And what time today was this found? And for clarification, where did you say it was located, the gun again?
So, Jonathan can come up again that. I don't have all those specific details. Before he transitions up, is there any kind of more? No? All right, I'm going to have Jonathan. Thank you all.
Hey.
So, can you ask me the question again?
Oh, yes. Now, I was just saying, what time or roughly around the time was the gun found? And just for clarification, where was it located again? So,
the gun was found right after, I think, the last bus dropped off. Okay, let me start again. The weapon was found in a trash can right after the last bus left the campus. And so we had 2 points of entry, I think, used this morning at North Forsyth. So it's, you may have each school is different. So at North Forsyth, we have 2 points of entry. Each one of those points of entry has multiple metal detectors. And so students coming into the building at one of the points of entry obviously threw a weapon into a trash can.
Thank you.
But it was found almost immediately following the metal detection process as kids were coming into the building, and we did the sweep afterwards.
So was it a trash can near the entrance?
It was a trash can near the entrance, yes, ma'am.
Anything you want to add we didn't ask you? Or?
I don't think so. Anything else you want to get into?
See something, say something.
Yeah, I mean, I would just, again, just to reiterate what Superintendent McManus said, we have the Say Something Anonymous reporting tip line. We have our Bully Patrol tip line. We have a phone line that comes into central office. And anytime a student, parent, or community member wants to share information with us, we are happy to take that information and follow up on every tip. We follow up on every tip that we receive and investigate it until we feel comfortable that the threat does not exist or it's been handled.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.